Hello, 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 good people. Hello, good people. I am Dr. Hollie Kelly, and this is Dr. Kelly's perspective for Monday, July 15th. We are halfway through, literally halfway through the month. Okay, so I know I'm later and y'all still jumping on in. So thank you for joining me. That means some of y'all watching at work. Ooh, I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell. Hello, JB. Okay, so I- first of all, I think I'm making up words because I wrote down. I entitled the perspective intentionality, and the little grammar line came up like, this is not even a word. I thought, I understand being intentional. I thought intentionality was like a real word. So I don't know what YouTube is trying to tell me wrong. Wrong word. Listen, this weekend, and happy Monday to you all. Um, this weekend, I was witness to a wonderful, wonderful, touching interchange with my husband and our 21-year-old. And so I thought it was rather sweet. I just went on and started taking pictures, and then, obviously well, not, maybe not obviously, but I didn't post the audio behind that, but it was just so beautiful. And this is where I'm going. Um, when things are not natural, when they don't flow naturally, when it's not easy to do and not anything that you don't have to think about, that's probably the time we want to be intentional about it. Hey, Thelma. That's the time when we want to be intentional about it. And I'm really thinking about relationships. When you're in relationship with anyone, and this is it applies across the board, marital relationships, parent relationships, adult children relationships, your co-workers, those that you're on teams with, and any kind of relationship. When and if it means enough to you, if it means enough to you, um, when things get sideways, and they will, because whenever you got more than one person involved, things can get complicated. But when those times come, that and those times are when we need to get intentional about it. Just because things get difficult, just because things get hard, just because there comes a point in time when it's not easy any longer, it's no longer natural. Oh my goodness, well, we hit it off from day one, and we've always just enjoyed each other's companies, and now all of a sudden, okay, at those are the times when you need to dig deep and go into your intentionality. Be deliberate about figuring out the relationship. Because if you're in relationship, my presumption is that it will be worth it on the back end to be intentional about getting better, to be intentional about watching what comes out of your mouth, be intentional about not taking each other for granted. Be intentional about being respectful. I mean, thinking into being respectful. And let me just say this: you don't get to determine what's respectful. It is the other person, it is the recipient. If you and I are in relationship and I say to you, that was so disrespectful the way you said what you said to me, you don't get to say that I wasn't being disrespectful. No, the recipient. I am on the receiving end. Well, hello, Dr. Herbert. Hello, Pauletta. So if I'm on the receiving end, I get to determine how that impact affected me. Not your intentions, your impact. So we have to be intentional about our relationships when things, when we're out of the honeymoon phase, when we're out of, we have left Disneyland. We have to be intentional about the relationship and about getting it back on course. We have to be intentional about, okay, I'm coming in here, we're going to have this discussion, and guess what? I'm going to be all ears. I'm going to be, you have to be intentional and deliberate about that if the relationship is important enough to you to get it back on track. I think this is a perfect example, and I lived it. One of my daughters is more like my husband's natural personality. One of my other daughters is more like my natural personality. So naturally, you get along easier and more effortlessly with the one who is most like you. Now, there will come a point in time when the one who is least like you, you'll start to do this. In any relationship, in every relationship, again, coworker, parent, spouse, fill in the blank, there will be times that you do this. When that started happening a little too much, and I knew in my gut, you don't have to have no kind of degree to know this, that things will not get better just because time is passing. Oh, well, we'll wait it out. And relationships that are important are too important to let the time tick away, because time is life. I believe in therapy and counselors. I believe in that profession tremendously. I believe in them. Thank you again for all who are joining me, jumping on. So I took my little happy hips to a counselor, and I said, this is not going well. And 10 years from now, I want to be able to have this child and I have a conversation that is not just, okay, hurry, but let me get to daddy, and just brush me off. I knew that I wanted a real relationship with this child, not one that is forced because we share some DNA. I wanted the relationship. And guess what? That onus was on me. That weight was on me. I took my little hips to a counselor to work through some of this stuff and why and how, what was my role in fixing that. And I'm telling you, today it's a beautiful relationship because I got intentional about it. I became deliberate. I had to work on and tweak some stuff. Okay. It meant that much to me. And so I am encouraging you today, wherever you are in any of your relationships, go through, review, look at the relationships. Look at my shirt, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, YouTube, I'm probably cutting off my head. My secret weapon is I pray. Okay. All right. Remix, fashion remix too. I just loved my shirt, so I want to show y'all instead of half cutting it off. Exactly, Martina. Exactly. There, if we have more than one child, I promise you there's going to be some things that do this. So my challenge, my offering to all of us today is to look through the relationships that we have. And if they're no longer easy and free flowing, and I didn't even have to think, we just clicked. We were just like, oh my goodness, we were ace boon coons from the beginning. And it's no longer like that. If it means enough to remain in the relationship, I'm going to challenge you to get deliberate, get intentional about doing your part. Hey, Marsha, happy birthday to you, baby. So that is my offering to you. Where relationships have gotten off kilter and they need to be recalibrated, take on the responsibility that you have something to do with. We can't control other people, but if the relationship means enough to you, step up to the plate and get intentional with it. Get intentional with it. That's my offering to you today. Thank you for joining me at this time. Tomorrow I should be back to my regular early bird hours, 7 a.m. Eastern, 4 a.m. Pacific. Until then, make it a marvelous Monday and take real good care of yourself.